Oh, that is a bright sun this morning. Let me just get everything where I need it to be. Get up a little closer here. This is going to be terrible lighting this morning. My grandmother passed away last week. So I'm on my way about an hour and a bit to her funeral, and I've been asked to read out the eulogy, or to write a eulogy and to speak it. So this is what I have to say about my grandmother, Betty Bateman, and the life that she lived. I'm going to just brighten up the screen. This is not going to be a great looking video. I'm just going to say it right now. It's not going to be a very professional looking one. This is just, yeah, this is what it is. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm joking around here, but I do know that the very last thing that my grandmother would have wanted was for us to make a fuss over her. So I want to talk about mittens. At least in a moment I do. I get worried that as we get older, we simply become this checklist of things that we've done. We had a child, we excelled at sports, we got to visit Victoria one time, we didn't like the taste of rutabaga. And sure, each of those things are what makes us individuals, but it's not what makes us human. The great American poet Maya Angelou has a quote that I've always loved. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." My grandmother made me feel special. Always. Growing up is not always the easiest. You get to be a teenager and you become filled with insecurities and thoughts of inadequacy. And my grandmother never saw that. She saw past the awkwardness and could see the good that I often would overlook in myself. And then she asked me when I was going to find a girl to marry, and I just had to shrug. How my grandmother made me feel is so hard to describe. There's so many intangibles unless you were there too. The smell of her house when I went to visit, the taste of the tea that she would make, the way that she scrunched her face when she laughed, the hours playing cribbage at her table, the stories she would tell, the questions she would ask, the simple feeling of contentment just being around her. What I adored was how interested she was in me. She always wanted to know what I was up to and have me explain what was new. As I grew older and my interests changed to computers and video games and making videos, she would listen politely and then usually tell me I don't understand any of that. Which is fair, I don't know if I do either. But her interest was genuine. Now sure, there's the list of things I could say about her. Born in 1922, part of the CAF Club, won grand champion with Romeo, was really good at sports, married in 1947, mother of 4, volunteered at the Legion, part of many local clubs, was a secretary of the co-op board, could always beat me at horseshoes. But again, that's just a list, a bunch of stuff. Which means I can now return to talking about mittens. For a good many years of my life, I could expect around Christmas time to receive a pair of new mittens. My grandma would knit them herself, and most likely to this day, there's probably a pair at my parents' place. Possibly a righty missing a lefty that's stuffed in the back of the closet. They were different colors each year, sometimes red and white, once blue and black. Even as I outgrew them, I still wanted to wear them. I'm sure it didn't take long for her to make them, but I love them. It wasn't until years later that I was able to psychoanalyze why. It wasn't the actual mittens themselves. They were this representation of her. They kept my hands warm and they made me feel her generosity even when I was miles away. They, in a much smaller way, were able to make me feel special too. And for anyone sitting here today, maybe it wasn't mittens, it could have been a meal you shared, a conversation that you had, or a different physical object, but you're not going to forget how she made you feel. And I think that's really special. Now, of course, there's funny stories and family legends that can be told. We'll save that for later. For now, hold on to those feelings. The words and the actions may disappear to time, but those feelings will never disappear. And here in the comfort of my own home, I am not a blubbering mess. I am going to absolutely tell you that that's not going to be true when I go and do this here later today. I love you, Grandma. I wish you were still here. I'll see y'all next week.